go. Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. This is our debut episode of our new show called Independent Showcase, and where we feature wrestlers, promoters, referees, commentators, anyone that wants to come on the show and talk about their careers. And the man that we've got today for the debut show, quite fittingly, really, is someone whose 2024 has brung him gold in one of the biggest promotions, if not the biggest promotion in the UK. It is the Revolution Pro Cruiserweight Champion. It is Mr. Will Kaven. How are you?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Christmas is out the way, finally. Back to some wrestling shows, literally going in a few hours, as I've just mentioned off air to you. Yeah, but all good, thank you. And what a year for you. Who would have thought 2024 Rev Pro Cruiserweight Champion?
Not me. Literally not me.
How was that for you? Because obviously we're going to talk about your background and everything, and how you got into it. But this year for you, we're going to talk about the story of you climbing the ranks at Rev Pro, and we'll talk about some of the matches that you've had. But does it feel like, I mean, how is it to be cruiserweight champion of one of the biggest wrestling companies in the UK?
Surreal. Honestly, still surreal to me, even now. It was surreal on the day and it's still surreal now. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. It's
So,
like to be the champion for me is like a validation of everything that I've worked for and everything I've gone
mm,
through up to this point. So just completely surreal still.
how is that day unfolded for you? I mean, obviously you get to the arena where it was, and then they go, right, you're winning it. How does that moment, does it take a while to process? Do you kind of think, shit, I need to like, how does it work in your head when you get told that information?
It did take a long time for me to process, yeah. Yeah, well, I remember we got to the arena the day before actually to set up all the
Mhm.
process you can see in the new Rev Pro documentary short by Graps on Film. Just got
Yep.
released yesterday. Really, really good. Really recommend it. Um, yeah, so we go through all that. We do the setup, we do the ring, the merchandise, the production stuff, everything. And the next day when we get to the arena, just setting some more stuff up. And Andy Quilden pulls me aside and says, "Today you're going to win the British Cruiserweight Championship." Um, And that one line just took like pretty much the whole day. I don't think it actually really sit in until after I walked back through the curtain, you know? Like even just like the whole process of the day, doing the match, coming back afterwards, I couldn't believe it. Like I still can't believe it, as I said, you know?
Did you kind of expect him to pull it back later on and go, plans have changed or something like that?
Um, I don't think that ever really crossed my mind specifically, but I never believe anything until it happens. Like I never believe it until I'm in the ring with anything.
And then you had that moment. Obviously, you get in the ring, the three does hit, and I think it was quite a surprise because obviously I think it was a six person, was it? Was it something? Was it a
Mm.
six man, if I remember rightly? You had
Six
a
man
lot of,
scramble, yes.
yeah, six-man scramble. And obviously, like when that three hits, and obviously then obviously it's definitely happening at that point. But what was that feeling from you when that moment when that referee's hand did hit the three?
Honestly, I don't think I can describe it. I really don't. I mean, I'm still like when you're in the ring and you're doing your match, you're kind of like in the zone.
Hmm.
So to say like I'm kind of like I'm in character. I'm reacting as my character would. Um, so I don't know. I can't. I couldn't recall to you the exact thoughts I was having. I was just like, I'm the champion. Fuck. Like, I'm just celebrating. You know. I couldn't describe it. I really couldn't.
How important is it though? Because you mentioned about being in character, and there's obviously there is that adrenaline, isn't there, that you go
Mm.
through of like I am champion, champion. But how important is it to actually still stick with the character and stick with how your character goes? Because I can imagine there could be a bit where you just want to release a lot of energy at that point.
Oh well, for sure. But then like my character like is the release of my energy, you
Yes.
know. A lot of people say all the time I'm literally nothing like I am in the ring, out the ring. It's completely different. But that's because when I let myself go and I become that character, it's just like me turned all the way up. You know, it's all the energy that I have releasing itself there. So that is my release. Like in general in my life, like wrestling is my release in that way, you know.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Now, let's talk about the background now. Obviously, I know you was in Ref Pro for many, many years, but how did that training happen? And also, what was that first day in training like when you were a wrestler?
So I started with Rev Pro training when I was 13 years old,
Yep.
so 11 years ago now. Um, I remember my first day. It was like a juniors class. It was a kids class at the time. Um, so it was all just very basic stuff like locking up, taking bumps like on crash mats and everything, all real safe. Um, I just remember getting in the ring for the first time and being like, "Yeah, this is what I want to do."
Yeah, exactly that. And then obviously as the years go by, I mean, Rev Pro do great because they do a lot of these sort of beginners, intermediate classes that we see. You see it, I see it all the time on socials and everything like that. And then you did actually get a very early victory in your Rev Pro career against a certain now back again Rev Pro champion, Mr. Michael Oku. When you go through those moments, and you've had quite a few matches with Michael, obviously there was a Cruiserweight
Mm,
championship at one point as well, and you've had the match with Luke Jacobs, the former Cruiserweight champion. We'll talk about that in a minute. When you get to see, when you have Michael at such a young age, and Michael was not exactly old at that point either,
no.
but like when you look at it now, did you learn more from, say, from example, facing Michael then and in the second time? Is it a constant learning phase when you're taking on someone like Michael Oku?
100%, like 100%. Obviously, there's been lots of guys that we'll get to that I've
Yeah.
learned so much from, especially in the last few years, especially since doing the Rev Pro main shows. But for me, Michael Oku is probably the man that I've learned the most from being in the ring with. I think I've probably had maybe like 4 or 5 singles matches with him now.
Mm.
Um, and each one just better and better. I'm learning more and more. The first match I had with Mike was before the time I beat him when I had my Rev
Yeah.
Pro main show debut at a contender show in Portsmouth,
Yeah.
where I wrestled him for the British Cruiserweight Championship when he
Yeah.
invoked his champion's choice. Something that's never been used before or since. Maybe I'll bring it back. Um, that was the first time I wrestled Mike, and it was probably the first like match I've had looking back that I'm really, really proud of. Like just the way that he thinks about wrestling is second to none. Like Michael Oku is the best wrestler in the UK and Europe. He's one of the best in the world. Like it can't be understated.
Yeah, definitely. No, that was in, if I remember correctly, the 16th of April, I think, around about that, 2022.
Yeah, definitely April. I
So,
don't know the exact date,
yeah.
but definitely April.
And then it was obviously, yeah, my mistake. It was in September of that year when you beat him afterwards. That was it. That was a
Yes.
live in London show at maybe in the 229. I think it's normally well, it is. I've been to many 229 events in my time when you've been. But another person that you've had a lot of experience with, and it wasn't, I was going to say Luke Jacobs, but I will say somebody else now. Robbie X is a really good
Mm.
fan of the show. And Robbie provides a different, I suppose, level of opponent to Michael. Michael's got a lot in his, I mean, they've both got a lot in their locker for many different ways, but Robbie's a totally different cat in terms of how he prefer how he performs in the ring. When you take on all of these great names, Jacobs, the Robbie X's, the Oku's, how do you is it a different method of training do you use before? And if you're going against someone like Luke Jacobs, a hard hitting, do you prepare in any different way to what you'd normally do?
I absolutely prepared differently. The most that I do when I'm working someone different or someone new, someone of a different style, is I try and watch as much of their matches as I can. And I also just kind of watch like matches that are similar to how they work, or matches with like a similar story that we might have as well. And then I'll try and replicate stuff like that in training, usually in the lead up to it if I have time.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously, if you're going against a heavy hitter, you might need to maybe work on the blocks or the reversals or maybe even some takedowns if you're at a submission or you can use something like that. I
Mm.
suppose it's a little bit difficult when you take on Michael because he's got kind of a bit of everything in his locker, hasn't he?
Yeah, yeah, he's got everything. That's what I'm saying. He's the best. He's the best at everything. You know.
It is. It's going to be interesting to see what 2025 holds for Michael Oku. I'm sure whatever it will be a success. But for you itself, and I must say, and I know you didn't tag team up with these two recently, but our champion, our turnbuckle champion at Ignite is Mark True.
Mm.
For my sins, someone who at the moment is refusing to defend our championship, actually, coming up, which I'm not very happy about. But that's a conversation for another day. But when you see some of these newer names that come in, Taylor James was a prime example. He come in, made a big impact in the Southampton show. Another good friend of ours over from Ignite. When you see these, does it make you up your game more that these new ones? Leon Cage, another big one, by the way. Leon Cage, can't forget him. Does it make you up your game more because you got to think, geez, these guys are coming in, they're making an impact. I need to keep my spot. I know I'm champion, but these guys are coming in. I need to keep it best for me, basically.
100%, a million, 100%. Yeah, you've seen it a lot at Rev Pro recently. There's
Mm.
so many new guys coming in that are so talented. Again, you say Taylor James,
Mhm.
Leon Cage for sure, Shane Hook,
Yeah.
um, Nino Bryant, all the Flying Bryant brothers.
No. Yeah.
There's too many. There's too many to list. Apologies if I missed anyone. I 100% did. Um, but yeah, no, the Rev Pro roster. Mike said this in a promo a little while ago. It's the most competitive roster in the world, and that's true. I fully believe that. Where else do you have some of the top talent in the world competing with some of the best up and coming talents? So every time someone like that comes in, you want to step your game up. My position as the top cruiserweight is always in danger because there's so many talented wrestlers. A lot of which I'm sure will eclipse me very soon. But
I don't, I don't know about
it's my
that.
duty to make sure they don't.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly that. But you mentioned that the Bryants are another one. Again, I'm familiar with them at Ignite. I've worked for them for the last couple of years. You did team actually with True and Lacey
Mm.
against the Bryants quite recently live in London. When you see those guys and you mentioned their Nino, or I want to talk about Nino actually quickly. He's the one for me that uh, you can, you can, people just get in the ring and you can just sit there and go, yeah, okay, him. You kind of just, it's one of those. Nino touches me like that when I see that in Ignite. He always has that ability when I'm basically when he's there, I'm watching. Has he had that impact at Rev Pro? I know you beat him recently in the Southampton show, but is he one that everyone should be making aware of if they're not already?
Yes, 100%. Nino is one of the most underrated wrestlers in the UK. I thought that for so long. If you're familiar with Purpose Wrestling, where he's the champion over
Yes.
there, I've been going to those shows and working on them for a little while now. Nino is always the highlight of those shows. He's the highlight of any show you see him on. He wrestled Leo Rush in Coventry at the King of
Yes.
Trios Grand Prix rather recently. Incredible match. Honestly, he's one to watch for 2025. Absolutely, one of the best talents in the UK.
And of course, yourself being one to watch, right? As
Of
well.
course, of
Of course.
course.
But when you talk about the other promotions that you're in, obviously, I know you've done a bit of WrestleForce as well. You've been there for a couple of shows. Is it like, when you go to these shows, and again, you get to be a mainstay of one of those, but it's about also is there another way we can look over your shoulder and see what's coming up at these other shows, not necessarily just Rev Pro, but the purposes and the WrestleForces?
I honestly have no idea. I couldn't tell you what's going to happen next year. I really don't know. Um, yeah, I think I've got a pretty full schedule at the minute for next year. Always looking to fill it up some more, but I couldn't tell you anything specific. I don't think, but I'm looking to work everywhere. Like I'll work anyone for anyone anywhere. I just want to work the best wrestlers. That's all I want to do.
That's interesting because as I mentioned before, you teamed with our turnbuckle champion over at Ignite, but he needs to be beaten at some point, Will. And would that be something that would interest you going against Mr. True for for our championship?
Oh, I think we'd have a great scrap. Personally, I love tagging with Mark Shrew and Kieran Lacey. They're two of the best guys on the scene. One of the best tag teams on the scene. Love those boys. I'm sure that we'd have an excellent scrap against each other. I'd love to.
Did you wear a mug hat when you wrestled with them?
I didn't know. I don't wear hats. I've got too good hair. Don't wear hats.
Yeah, I'm not going to wear it well, out of protest really because he's not defending my championship as it stands. Another one quickly before we get onto the climb through the cruiserweights for you. JJ Gal is another one for me. I've again had a I've known JJ for quite some time. He's been on here as well. Is he another one that we talk about looking out for people and people that really need to be being watched? Is he going to be another one for you that's probably going to explode within the next 12 to 18 months?
100%. He's in the process of exploding right now.
Hmm.
Like look at the year he's had. Like he wrestled Tomohiro Ishii this year on the same show. I won the British Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah.
Um, he's wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. in the past. He's wrestled Will Ospreay. He's wrestled Josh Alexander. Again, so many more that I couldn't even begin to possibly mention. Um, but he's one of the top guys in the UK, I think, already. Like he is well on his way to being one of the top guys in the world. Everyone's going to recognize that, even if he is a little princess bitch.
I can't comment. I really can't comment on that bit. But yes, he's very good. He's definitely one to look out for, that's for sure. But when you mentioned before, you had a lot of cruiserweight championship matches before winning it. Does those championship matches help you in the long run in terms of like not only going in there against the best, but going in there in a championship match? Because a championship match is always massive importance for the promotion that you're working for, no matter what one it is. So does it give you more of like a taste for it and actually how to even wrestle in those matches?
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's more pressure, you know. Every time it's more pressure. You know, there's going to be more eyes on it. You know, there's more on the line. You know, the match is probably going to be longer. You know, it's going to be harder. You know, there's going to be more stuff happening in that might not happen in a normal match. You know that whoever's the champion is going to be fighting even harder. You know, the same way I do now. And doing all those matches is 100% what led me up to where I am now. Again, look where I am now. Look at it.
Yeah, you are the Cruiserweight champion right now in Rev Pro, that's for sure. When it comes to Rev Pro 2025, you mentioned your diary's quite full. Is there anyone on there at the moment that you would, not necessarily even in Rev Pro, but in the British scene, that you haven't defended that Cruiserweight championship against, that you would like to knock on Andy's door and say, give me him or her?
I've got a few ideas. Again, I won't divulge like everything, but I've got a few ideas. There's a lot of guys in the UK that are top talent that I haven't wrestled at all yet. Someone like Ethan Allen, for example, just made his return.
Yes.
Fantastic wrestler. He's someone I would love to get in there with. Never wrestled him before. There's a lot of guys who aren't cruiserweights, such as Connor Mills, that I've never wrestled, that I'd love to wrestle as well. Maybe if Charles Samuels can get that back down to the weight limit, I'd like to wrestle him again. You know, there's all sorts of guys. There's literally so many, too many to count.
Yeah, I don't think we want to see Shah Samuels cutting weight again at Ref Pro after last one. There is another name that I want to throw in it. Again, he's not a cruiserweight, but I'd love to see you go in there. Maybe, I don't know if you've had a one-on-one recently. Jay Joshua.
Yes, yes, Jay Joshua, absolutely. I've never wrestled him, but would love to. He's incredible.
He is.
Just winning the British Tag Team Championship with Connor Mills at Uprising last
Yeah.
Saturday. Excellent, excellent professional wrestler. Would love to get in there with him.
Yeah, I'd love to see that myself again, Jay. We know him very well, the Welsh contingent down there. We loved him. Hopefully, we'll be back at Ignite in the future for sure. Look, when we go to this independent scene now, and we've seen the WWE do something called WWE ID. Now, they haven't partnered with any British wrestling promotion at the moment that I suppose they're focusing over in the States. But is that something that would interest anyone on the UK scene if the WWE did say we're going to go for a UK promotion? They must have eyes. I mean, AEW have massive eyes on the UK market. We know that. We've seen that. We've seen the amount of people they've got coming in, potentially coming in, who knows, in the future. But is something like a WWE ID something that would, do you reckon that would interest British wrestling?
Yeah, 100%. There's people that would be interested. I think there's people that probably wouldn't be interested as
Mm.
well, but everyone's different, you know. Like if WWE came knocking on my door, I can't say I'd say no. Like I'm not lying, you know. Even that it
Yeah.
might not be my preferred destination overall right now, but hey, if they asked, I'm not saying no.
Exactly that. It'd be interesting to see if they do the branch out from via the US. So I know AEW's got a lot of it. They're quite good with Rev Pro. We've seen quite a lot of working together with them. I know there was the Mina and Mercedes bit that happened recently as well, and we've seen the likes of Orange Cassidy come out and do some bits and pieces as well as some others. And obviously Will Ospreay's over there killing it, and in the Continental Classic finals. Is Japan somewhere though, Will, that you would like to see yourself in the future?
Yeah, 100%. That's my goal.
Oh, is
Japanese
it?
wrestling is like my favorite type of wrestling. I've seen so much Japanese wrestling. To wrestle in Japan is my absolute dream. Like that's my number one goal, if anything, is to wrestle in Japan.
It was quite interesting because Zack Sabre Jr. come out, I think, a little while ago and kind of said like he doesn't mind going to an AEW, he doesn't mind working a little bit here, but his heart is Japan. That he wants to
Mm.
just become a legend over there. He doesn't really care about going anywhere else. What is it about Japanese wrestling, Will, that has that allure to you and to maybe Zack at this point where he doesn't want to go anywhere else?
It's the quality of the product for me. It's the quality of the in-ring product. I don't think you'll find it anywhere else in the world. The Japanese fans as well, the way they respect what they're seeing in the ring, um, the whole atmosphere it creates, the whole production is very clean, very sleek. Yeah, if you watch a New Japan show, if you go and watch Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th, like you'll see exactly what I mean. Like the whole product is impeccable to me.
Yeah, it does. It is really. I've seen quite a bit of New Japan. They do amazing stuff. I always find, although recently Japanese fans have always they're very much they study what's going on a lot of the time as well. I'm quite like that. I'm kind of like tunnel vision when I watch a match now. I'm not these yay or boos or anything like that. Or you won't hear me chanting a lot during a match. I'll be literally focusing on what's going on, picking up little bits. I'm not a wrestler. I've trained it, but I've never become a wrestler. But I do have a championship that I like to get people involved in. And if there's a certain person, individual that's there. But the Japanese wrestling fans, they've got a voice about them. There's no doubt about it. But I always feel as if I don't know, mean this disrespectfully, but they kind of respect it more, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
absolutely, they do. Absolutely. Again, you say that it's the same with myself. When I watch wrestling, I study it and I respect it. That's the best way to consume it, in my opinion.
It certainly is. Well, as we start wrapping up now, you mentioned that your diary is quite full already in 2025. But if promoters want to reach out to you, are you accepting bookings? And if so, how can they get in touch with you?
Always accepting bookings. Shoot me a DM on any social media. I'm at Will Caven 13 on Instagram and Twitter. Um, yeah, shoot me a DM. I'm available wherever you want me, anywhere in the world. Let me know.
There you go. And you said you're Japan. Is there anywhere else you'd like to wrestle next year, if given the chance?
Everywhere, everywhere. I want to break into Europe this year. I want it everywhere, literally everywhere.
It's interesting because Germany's another big one, isn't it? I see a lot of stars heading over to Germany to do a lot of work there. That's somewhere where obviously it's a home in people's schools. And Spain, obviously we saw Zazoya come through this year and he's massively broke out into Rev Pro and we see that. But that's somewhere, Will Caven in Barcelona, for example, that would be good for you. That'd be a good fit, I guess, as well.
I would hope so. Hey, the scene over there is growing like so
Mm.
well. A lot of the Spanish guys that have come over here recently have been so good. They've done so well. I've always got an eye on the European scene. It's incredible at the moment. I'd love to be a part of it.
But I think you will be, Will, for sure. And what can you announce so far that you've got coming up over the next? I know we're on the festive period, but wrestling doesn't stop, right?
No, nothing ever stops. Let's see. This Sunday, I'm in Swanmore for Phoenix Pro Wrestling, last show of the year. That'll be a good fun, nice family show. And then after that, it's all just Rev Pro, Rev Pro, Rev Pro. Go and look at their schedules. They put out a lot of their dates for next year. Come and see it. The
I'm
best wrestling in the UK. The best.
That is not without a doubt. Yes, Rev Pro. If you go onto the Rev Pro website, revpro.com, I believe, all the season tickets are available. I know London is. I think they got one for Portsmouth
Yes, they
down
do.
that way.
Portsmouth.
Yeah, they're going to be in Sheffield, Coventry, Doncaster. Pretty much anywhere, really, for Rev Pro. Will, you can breathe for a minute. I need to run down a few things myself. I apologize in advance. We do have a lot coming on. Obviously, we're in Prodigy Pro Wrestling in about 2.5 hours' time. We'll be going down there for their final show of the year. Looking forward to seeing a good friend from Essex, myself, in Paul Robinson will be wrestling on that card, as will Levi Muir. They've got a Extreme Rules match, a Battle Royal. They're only down in Hockley, about half an hour from me. Myself and Ignite Wrestling will be there just to. We've got a breakout division and some championships that we need to be defending on shows next year. So we're on the lookout for some there. In terms of some podcasts, we're not finished for the year, not by a long chalk. Shelly Martinez will be coming on the show this coming weekend as part of our weekend spectacular, I might as well say. Wrestling Ignite will be joining us again next week as well as we year-end review, as will Riot Cabaret. They'll be joining us as well for an independent showcase, a bit like your good self, Will. Austin Aries will be joining us as well next week. That'll be a lot of fun. I know there's a bit of controversy with him, but hopefully we won't have anything on the show that'll be controversial. Black G's from NWA, CW Anderson will be joining us. Rob Drake will be joining us as well as North Wrestling. Tig, another independent star on the rise, will be joining us, and Hollywood Haley J will be rounding off the first couple of weeks in January. I will breathe. Will, thank you very much. Will, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We wish you the best in 2025. We will see you at a Rev Pro, and who knows, we may get you down to Shenley Road at Ignite at some point. If not for our championship, maybe for the Ignite Heavyweight Championship. We'll see about that. Taylor James might have something to say about that, though.
We'll see. We'll see. Give me all
We'll
the gold. I'm
see.
coming for it. I'm coming for it all.
There we go. So Mark and Tommy Carl at the moment is the Ignite Heavyweight Champion, but Mark, you're ours. for now. Anyway, unless I decide to strip you of that championship, we'll see. But for now, we'll all the best for 2025. Good luck at your show this weekend, the final show of 2024. All the best for 2025. We'll see you. Make sure you see Will in action at Rev Pro, defending that Cruiserweight Championship. But this has been the debut episode. It went smooth as you like for the Independent Showcase on Hitting the Turnbuckle. Don't forget to follow us, HTT Buckle on X, HTT Buckle on YouTube. Yes, we're on Blue Sky. Knows what that is, but we're on it. Just follow us on there. I think that's HTT Buckle as well. Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on YouTube. We'll be back this weekend with our World's End review, and that's a collaboration as well. And of course, Shelly Martinez. But until then, he has been the Cruiserweight champion, Will Kaven. I have been your host, Adam Cousins, and you have been watching the Independent Showcase on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.